Good morning. My name is Rebecca Shi, and I am the Executive Director of the American Business Immigration Coalition. ABIC is a bipartisan coalition of 1,200 CEOs, employers across 13 states, including Florida, Texas, Arizona, Utah, Nevada, Colorado, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, Illinois, Wisconsin, North and South Carolina. We want to thank our Carolinas co-chairs, Martin Eakes, Bob Page, Hugh McCall, Marty Codis, for their leadership. We also want to thank our incredible co-sponsors and speakers for Carolinas Flourishing. This event is not possible without them. And they are the President's Alliance on Higher Education and Immigration, the North Carolina Green Industries Council, Latin American Chamber of Commerce in Charlotte, North Carolina Growers Association, Duke University, North Carolina Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, South Carolina Farm Bureau, the Latin American Coalition, and Americans for Prosperity. I came to the United States when I was 10 years old from China. My mother was undocumented with an order of deportations for 19 years. My mom was a doctor in China. Without papers, she worked in Chinese restaurants. Her work put me through the University of Chicago. Today, a confident US citizen, my mother works at a medical laboratory treating patients with a range of cancers and tumors. North and South Carolina is home to more than 1.1 million immigrants. Their work is powering key industries, including agriculture, construction, healthcare, hospitality, manufacturing, and many others you will hear from today. Over 41,000 dreamers and 120,000 farm workers work and pay taxes in the Carolinas. They have a collective spending power of over $660 million and contribute more than $136 million in federal and state taxes each year. At the American Business Immigration Coalition, we exist to achieve legal status and citizenship for the 11 million undocumented workers and fill key labor gaps at both the high and low skill ends. We support Senator Menendez's U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. We are especially pleased to support measures with viable bipartisanship, such as the Dream and Promise Act that will finally create a secure path to citizenship for 2 million Dreamers who were brought to the US as children and TPS holders, and the DREAM Act introduced into the Senate by Senators Durbin and Graham. We also support the Farm Workforce Modernization Act that will finally grant citizenship to 1 million essential farm workers and will be introduced into the Senate by Senators Bennett and Crapo. We are pleased that both passed out of the House last week with 39 Republicans, 30 for the agriculture bill and 9 for the Dreamers. They have advanced to the Senate. It is always good to have strong bipartisan support, and Americans agree. 78% of American voters support citizenship for Dreamers, and over 68% for the 11 million undocumented essential workers. Show me another issue with this level of popularity. I am proud to introduce ABIC's Carolinas Director, Yael Flores, to share his own story and work. Please take it away, Yael.
Thank you, Rebecca. Good morning, everybody. My name is Yael Flores. I am the Carolinas Director of the American Business Immigration Coalition. I was born in Mexico and was brought to the United States when I was 7 years old. I am a DACA recipient who grew up in the Carolinas in a small town called Kernersville, North Carolina. My parents graduated from college in Mexico and came to North Carolina to provide a better future for their children. They worked in restaurants as dishwashers. My father worked as a forklift operator, and my mother worked as a nursing home CNA, and now she's building her own business. I had family who worked in the Yadkin County poultry industry and family friends who picked tobacco. Because of their sacrifices, I pushed myself to exceed in multiple sports and in school. I played football all 4 years and later became quarterback of my high school team. Although the out-of-state college tuition in North Carolina, it was difficult for me to pay. I built a few businesses and worked a couple full-time jobs to self-fund my college education. I have an 8-year-old son, and providing him a bright future outweighed those obstacles. I am eager to build a successful Carolinas Business Immigration Coalition to advance bipartisan immigration reform, to fill critical labor needs, strengthen Carolina's economy and families. Mine and my family's story make it clear. Immigrants are here to work. Immigration reform will unleash our full economic potential and contribute to our great country. I hope that with this summit today, we can start moving the conversation forward. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Miriam Feldblum. I'm a daughter of a refugee, a second-generation immigrant myself, and one of the co-founders and executive director of the President's Alliance on Higher Education and Immigration. The nonpartisan nonprofit alliance is composed of over 500 public and private university and college presidents in 43 states, DC, and Puerto Rico, who've come together on the immigration issues that impact our students, campuses, communities, and nation. This includes 19 members from North and South Carolina. Over 3,000 undocumented students graduate high school annually in the Carolinas. The President's Alliance is committed to supporting Dreamer, other immigrant and international students, and advocating alongside them for fair and common sense immigration reform. We applaud the reintroduction of the bipartisan Senate DREAM Act, the passage of the House DREAM and Promise Act, the introduction of the US Citizenship Act, and the push for broader immigration reform. As an alliance, our strength comes from our numbers and members and their role as higher education leaders. So I'm thrilled and honored to introduce one of our members now, Dr. Vincent Price, president of Duke University. President Price is actively engaged in supporting Dreamer, other immigrant and international students, and is nationally known for his advocacy of economically smart and thoughtful immigration policies. President Price, over to you.
Thank you, Miriam, and thanks to all for the invitation to join you at this forum. It's good to see some familiar faces and to know the importance of this issue to so many in our community. At Duke, we are fully committed to partnership and engagement with leaders from industry and government as we work to address the world's most pressing issues. And there is perhaps no issue more pressing than developing reasonable, fair policy solutions that provide clarity for those in our immigration system. Every year, tens of thousands of students and employees come to Duke to learn, to work, to conduct research, to care for patients in our health system, and to take part in campus life. And in this uncertain moment, we're working harder than ever to support every member of the Duke community, regardless of their immigration status. To that end, we've taken and will continue to take significant steps to support members of the community who are subject to immigration proceedings, including providing resources and guidance to students and employees and making referrals to legal aid when necessary, maintaining the confidentiality of student employee records to the fullest extent of the law, continuing to meet the full demonstrated financial need for undocumented students, and strongly advocating for a long-term resolution through the DREAM Act and similar efforts. We do so because we believe that it aligns with our mission to train leaders for the global community, because we recognize that the vitality of a diverse community of perspectives and backgrounds brings so much to our campus, and because we seek to foster a welcoming community that reflects the shared challenges and aspirations of our increasingly connected world. We will continue to support all members of the Duke University family through these challenging times, and we will work with business and government leaders to advocate for policies that open doors, not slam them shut. Our core principles compel us to protect the rights of students and employees who embody what James B. Duke called character, determination, and an ambition for life. It's my personal belief and our university's firm commitment that those efforts should not be constrained by immigration status. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Governor Roy Cooper.
ahead, Jose. I think you're muted. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Jose Oliva, and I'm here today on behalf of Replacements Limited. Replacements Limited is an online retailer that serves 1 million customers and employs people from 37 different countries in our location in Greensboro, North Carolina. We want to say thank you to ABIC for bringing all of us together to discuss this important issue. At Replacements, we believe that there is a place for everyone at the table. And we work really hard every day to build an inclusive workplace and be involved in the issues that impact our community. Now, I would like to introduce someone who needs no introduction, the Governor of North Carolina. Governor Roy Cooper has spent the last 3 decades in public service. He is someone who truly understands the value of bipartisanship. In the State House and in the State Senate, Governor Roy Cooper worked with Republicans and Democrats to pass balanced budgets, raise pay for teachers, and cut taxes on the middle class. In 2000, North Carolina elected Roy Cooper as our Attorney General, and they re-elected him 3 times. And in 2016, he was elected governor. And in 2020, he was re-elected for a 2nd term. There is no doubt that Governor Roy Cooper is a highly regarded leader among Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and everybody in between. Please welcome Governor Roy Cooper.
Hi, everybody. I'm Governor Roy Cooper. I want North Carolina's economy to be as strong as it can be. My CEO mission statement is to have a North Carolina where people are better educated, healthier, and have more money in their pockets. And when it comes to CEOs, I know that nearly half of Fortune 500 companies were founded by immigrants or their children. Diversity is our strength, and immigrants help make us strong. Immigration reform is a must, and it requires a federal solution. What we've seen time and again is a Congress that's frozen in partisan gridlock. It's hurting the states, it's hurting local governments, it's hurting businesses, it's hurting our economy, and most importantly, it's hurting people and families. We have to understand how vital the immigrant community is to our economy across the nation and right here in North Carolina. You may have seen that just this past week, Fujifilm Diosynth will build the world's largest factory to produce monoclonal antibodies in North Carolina. And Google will build an engineering outpost for cloud computing right here. We will need everyone to fill these jobs that will fuel our economy. I look forward to the day when our nation's leaders can agree to a common sense policy on immigration. That's what we need to keep our economy going. You can count on me to be a steady voice for such a solution. Thanks for letting me be with you today.
Thank you, Governor Cooper, and thank you to the American Business Immigration Coalition for inviting me to be a part of this important conversation. I'm Krista Newkirk, president of Converse College in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Over 427,000 undocumented students are enrolled in the U.S. higher education nationwide. That represents approximately 2% of all students enrolled in U.S. higher education. And approximately 98,000 undocumented students graduate from high school each year. South Carolina is home to 102,000 undocumented immigrants, and 8,785 of these immigrants are young people who are eligible for DACA. DACA eligible students face a very challenging situation in South Carolina. Despite the fact that many of these students are hardworking, academically gifted students, South Carolina prohibits undocumented residents from enrolling in public higher education institutions. DACA recipients are eligible to enroll in South Carolina's public colleges and universities, but they cannot access in-state tuition or state financial aid. What does that mean for them in practical terms? It means that they face paying out-of-state tuition at an average rate of more than $22,000 more per year. That's almost $100,000 more in cost for these students to complete their college degrees. They are also ineligible to receive Pell Grants, which can be up to $6,500 in aid. South Carolina tuition grant funds if they attend a private institution, which can provide up to $3,600 in aid, or state merit scholarships, such as the Palmetto Fellow Scholarship, which can provide up to $7,500 per year. So for an undocumented student attending a private institution, that can mean a loss in aid and scholarships of up to $18,000 per year, or almost $80,000 over the course of their college education. So why does a college degree matter so much for these students? Well, there are many advantages, but on earning capacity alone, the average salary difference between a person with a high school degree versus one with a bachelor's degree is $26,000 annually. Over the course of a lifetime, that's an earning difference of approximately $1.25 million. DACA eligible individuals in South Carolina contribute $19.6 million in federal taxes, $13.7 million in state and local taxes, and $134 million in spending power. The DREAM Act of 2021 would offer protection and an eventual path to citizenship for up to 3 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. And, among other measures, would allow states to grant in-state tuition to undocumented students in higher ed based on residency. These students are right here in South Carolina. They are working and planning for a bright future. We need to do our best to help them be educated and successful, not just because it's the right thing to do, but is the best thing to do for South Carolina and the United States. For Converse, this is an important issue as we support our international students and strive to create a diverse and inclusive environment. At Converse, our motto for 130 years is to educate every student to see clearly, decide wisely, and act justly. And I encourage you to strive to meet those ideals as well. Enacting the DREAM Act of 2021 and opening access to in-state tuition and state financial aid for undocumented students will enhance our state's academic and economic well-being. Thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you
morning.
so much.
My name is
Denise.
Chalmers Carr. I'm the owner and operator of Titan Farms in Ridge Springs, South Carolina, a diverse peach and vegetable farm. First generation farmers bought our company in 1999 and have grown it up into one of South Carolina's largest farming operations. And we also happen to be South Carolina's largest H-2A employer. I'm pleased to be here today to talk to you a little bit as our country starts debating the immigration issue once again. And as we look at immigration, we have to understand that it has many components. One of them is we've got to secure our borders. We have to know who is coming into this country. But we also have a population, some estimate 11 million, that have been in this country, many of them for 2-3 decades, that have been living here peacefully, working and providing services to our economy and everything. And we must address those folks. And honestly, adjustment of status through the proper channels where they can earn their way to a green card and then maybe permanent residency or even citizenship over time. We have to understand and not penalize them because they've been here and they've been working and they've been providing to our economy, which has really been helping our economy grow. The same could be said for agriculture. But as we understand that and we go forward, we must do this in a way that we make sure we secure our borders and that we deter any illegal immigration coming forward. And we could do that with e-verification. But in order to get industry and business to support that, we're going to have one, the current workforce. We got to be able to keep those employed because they're trained. But two, we're also going to need a future flow program that will allow businesses to know that they're going to have labor coming in. You know, I'm an agriculture employer, and I can tell you that less than 1% of US workers actually have applied for my jobs, and I've advertised over 1,000 jobs a year over the last decade. It's simply stated that our population, some of our population doesn't want to do menial jobs or low-skilled jobs on the farm, harvesting crops and everything. Our younger generations have more opportunities at education and other opportunities in business as well. When you look at how our country was thriving pre-COVID. So as I sit here and talk to you today, my issue is about the future flow and how do we address that? Because making sure that agriculture has access to legal labor is the #1 issue in agriculture. And as I said, I've been in the H-2A program for 23 years now. This is my 23rd year. And I've grown from 175 workers to bringing in 800 workers a year. All the time, I have no domestic workers wanting to do these jobs. So realizing for business to grow, we've got to have access to that labor. But the second portion of that is we've got to be able to afford that labor. You know, we know that when 1986, when we went through the Immigration Reform Act, that was for agriculture and those workers got adjusted, but guess what they did? In less than 4 to 5 years, they all left the farm for year-round, higher-paying jobs in other industries. So when we look at addressing this issue now, we have to realize that that is once again going to happen. When workers can come forward out of the shadows, they're going to go after economic prosperity, and I don't blame them. I mean, that's the American dream. You work hard and get rewarded for it. So when they do move on to these other jobs and other industries, agriculture is going to be left with a program right now, the H-2A program, that by all accounts is considered broken, very litigious, very expensive to use, and quite frankly, too complicated to use. Everybody that's in the program, 95% of the employers that use it have to use a lawyer or an agent to help them go through and navigate the program. So I'm an advocate for changing the program in a way that first, it expands it to all of agriculture. We cannot just limit it to seasonal employment. All of agriculture needs access to workers. You think about our dairy industry or our mushroom industry, they're year-round jobs that they can't attract people to. Who wants to milk a cow at 3 o'clock in the morning? We have to have people that are willing to do these jobs. But the second thing is it's got to be affordable. Right now, the national H-2A AWARE is $14.62. That is a mandated wage rate from the federal government, which, by the way, has gone up 4.4% in the last 10 years. But in just the last 3 years, it has risen 5.3% a year. That's not cumulative. That is 5.3% a year. It is putting us out of business. When you look at our border, southern border, and our neighbor to the southern border, Mexico, who, by the way, we have a $14 billion trade deficit on fruits and vegetables, $14 billion trade deficit. In fact, they account for 75% of our trade deficit on fruits and vegetables. It's because their wage rate is 70 cents an hour. Yes, you heard me, 70 cents an hour. Their daily wage rate, minimum wage rate in Mexico is $7 a day, and that is a 10-hour workday. Yet we're paying $14.62, 20 times more than that here in the US. And it's, by the way, it's also 10 times lower than our federal minimum wage. So as we look at this program, we've got to make our wage rates where we can compete. Otherwise, we're going to continue to outsource our food production to foreign countries. And if COVID has taught us anything, we need to be sure that we have a robust domestic supply of fruits and vegetables and all of agriculture. And I know you've heard this before, but when we talk about labor-intensive crops, we are losing that. When you think about the amount of crops that are being grown overseas and coming into this country, and where would we be if our ports shut down? So again, as we go forward, I encourage all of our immigration officials and all of our businesses to unite on this and support a legal way to do the current workforce, but also make sure that we ensure that our farmers and ranchers have a program that will allow them to compete on the global economy and allow us to flourish and grow, because we can do that. And we want to do that. But we need the access and the ability to do that in a way that we know that we can be in business, not only today, but tomorrow as well. Look forward to being engaged on this debate. Thank you all for your time. Have a great day.
Thanks to Chalmers Carr for this wonderful opportunity, and Titan Farms for allowing me to be here with you today. There's no doubt that the agricultural business in South Carolina is our largest industry, and I'm so thankful for the work that you've done during COVID-19. I'm also, without any question, understand the importance of the H-2A visa program. It's about 10% of the workforce, and know that we need to have a bipartisan coalition working together on reforms to the program. I can guarantee you that we will be at that table working with our friends across the aisle, looking for ways to bring real reform, sustainable reform to the industry. Thanks for what you all do. Frankly, for all of us, if you want to eat, we gotta love the farmers, and I like to eat, so I love farmers and ranchers. So we have worked very hard, and we'll continue to work very hard on ways to make sure that we keep our focus in the right place, and let's make sure that you have the workers and the environment that is conducive for your success, because your success is our success. Thanks, Chalmers. Hope to see you in person real soon.
I'd like to invite Jose Oliva up to introduce our next speaker.
Hey, thanks, James. Next, we're going to hear from Attorney General Josh Stein. Attorney General Stein was sworn in for his first term as North Carolina 50th Attorney General in 2017, and his second term in 2021. Attorney General Stein is focused on protecting North Carolina families from crime and fraud. he has also made combating the opioid epidemic a top priority. In 2017, Attorney General Stein, along with 15 other attorney generals across the country, challenged the Trump administration attempt to end DACA. Last summer, the United States Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration attempt to cancel DACA was unlawful. We're very proud of Attorney General Stein's leadership on this important issue, very near to our hearts. Please welcome Attorney General Josh Stein.
Greetings, I'm Josh Stein, North Carolina's Attorney General. Thank you for inviting me to address the Carolinas Business Immigration Summit. I'm grateful for this opportunity and for your attention to this issue important to the economy of the Carolinas and the spirit of our nation. Unless you're a Native American, your relatives came to this land from another, whether that was by choice or by force. Each one of us has our own immigration story. My family was among the huddled masses yearning to breathe free. They escaped the Russian pogroms of the late 19th century to come to this land of immense promise that has delivered in ways that I don't think my great-grandfather could have even imagined. In every period of our history, our nation has been infused by the energy, talent, and drive of new generations of immigrants. Today, however, our immigration system is broken. For too long, too many politicians have used this issue to drive wedges among us to gain partisan advantage rather than doing the hard but necessary work of governing by developing balanced, common sense policies based on compromise. Our leaders in Washington must finally meet this moment and take action on comprehensive immigration reform that recognizes the valuable contributions immigrants make to our communities. These policies should include securing our borders, embracing dreamers, ensuring adequate visas for students and skilled and agricultural workers, welcoming refugees fleeing persecution, and providing an earned pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants who meet certain criteria, including passing a background check. If the Senate won't take comprehensive action, then it should take up the two bills the House just passed in bipartisan fashion, the American Dream and Promise Act and the Farm Workforce Modernization Act. As Attorney General of North Carolina, I, of course, do not vote in Congress, but I can advocate for sound policies and do defend the Constitution, state and federal law, and American values. That's why I oppose the Trump administration's efforts to abolish the DACA program and deport dreamers. The DACA program provides much needed security to approximately 800,000 young people across the country, including 27,000 here in North Carolina. People who were brought here to this country as young children and have essentially known no other nation than this as home. These young people want nothing more than the security of knowing that they can continue to invest in themselves and their communities. They are studying or working or serving in the military to build better lives for themselves, in the process strengthening our country. I've had the benefit of hearing about the experiences of many dreamers. At one meeting, as the young people were going around the table telling me their stories, one young woman broke down in tears from the stress of her experience. Sitting beside her was a young man she didn't know. He comforted her with such grace and maturity, it was striking. And when it was his turn, he told me he was working in a restaurant, but that his dream was to go to Durham Tech and become a police officer. I can assure you that he is precisely the type of person we want protecting and serving us here in North Carolina law enforcement. I'm really proud that last summer we won our case, upholding DACA in the United States Supreme Court. But all that victory did was give these young people a temporary reprieve that gratefully President Biden extended with his January 20th executive order. To provide the certainty that these young people deserve, Congress simply must pass the American Dream and Promise Act. Again, I want to thank you all for your time that you're spending today on this important issue of immigration. You have unique perspectives on our labor challenges and how immigration, when done right, can create economic growth that benefits the entire country. As your Attorney General, I look forward to continuing to work alongside you to make North Carolina safer, stronger, and more prosperous. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General Stein, and thank you for your advocacy at the state level for North Carolina's immigrant community. Those are really powerful remarks. My name is James O'Neill. I'm a Director of Outreach for the American Business Immigration Coalition. But now I'd like to turn to a federal voice on immigration reform. Catherine Nikas is the Deputy Chief Counsel for Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator Graham and his team have long been champions of the DREAM Act, and we are so excited to have Catherine with us here today to share her expertise. So Catherine, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, James. And thank you, Rebecca, and to everyone who put this on today and for giving me a chance to speak on such an important and complicated and complex topic. As you know, and as has been mentioned, Senator Lindsey Graham, my boss, has cared about helping work through a solution for the Dreamers for a long time now. For years, he supported doing something for the DREAM population and eventually became a leading Republican voice on the matter. He remains committed to this group who came through our borders or in other ways through no fault of their own, who were brought here as children and who know no other country. This is their home and they don't have any other to go back to. He's also been a voice for H-2A and H-2B reform for a while. In fact, right now we're working through a definitional change as Chalmers and other offices know that would bring some of the H-2B industries into the uncapped H-2A to offer much needed relief to employers and industry that really struggle to find workers in this area. We've also spoken to the embassies in Guatemala and Mexico about relieving the pressure on our southern border by allowing H-2B and H-2A workers to legally travel to the United States and work safely and comfortably in America. We'll continue to work on those issues and continue to advocate for those. Recently, we reintroduced DREAM with Senator Durbin, and right after we did, a new reality came into play. That reality was the serious struggle at the southern border with the surge of migrants, primarily unaccompanied minors. So young children, yet again, we're seeing come into our country through no fault of their own, often because their parents or for other reasons, were smuggled into the United States. So the numbers are staggering right now. The officials at the southern border have told us that this February was the highest February in terms of migrants coming across the border between ports of entry that we've ever seen. And that at this rate, with the numbers we're seeing, 2018, 2019, and 2020 numbers combined is what we're expected to see in 2021. So a real problem at our southern border. And what does this mean? Well, this means that we need to open influx shelters for all of these unaccompanied children so that they can safely be processed and placed with sponsors. So far, there are about 8 influx shelters. These are temporary emergency shelters that FEMA often helps us set up at the southern border, using oftentimes spaces that states offer up, like the Dallas Convention Center recently, and now the San Diego Convention Center. There's also influx shelters in Florida and along the Texas border as well. And I know the government is looking at Virginia and possibly, who knows who could be next. There's been shelters set up in Maine and potentially, anywhere where there's substantial space, these minors will be sent to for processing. So a really big undertaking. Obviously, the security and safety of these minors are also at play. And then you also have the COVID concerns with making sure everyone's tested and safely quarantined if necessary. So that has taken some of our, and I've had conversations with many of you, and I'm open to having conversations with anyone else who wants to engage on this really important issue, but that's taken some of the conversation away from strictly dreamers, which we obviously want to help and find that solution for once and for all, but also those young people who are now sort of the second wave of dreamers, right? Those who, through no fault of their own, have found themselves here and often, squalor or dire conditions that need to see some sort of relief as well. So what we've been talking about recently is just making sure that any sort of solution to the dreamers doesn't forget that second wave of dreamers, those unaccompanied children who are at our border right now, who are struggling to find footing and whose futures are uncertain as well. So I just ask for your partnership in trying to, once again, find the solution for dreamers, but also to not ignore that second wave that we're seeing at the border during this time, so that we can come together and fix the population or find, secure and lasting solutions to the dream population, while also making sure a new population doesn't get lost in the shadows or in the cracks, this new unaccompanied child population that we're seeing now. So thanks so much for giving me the time, and we look forward to partnering in the future.
Great. Thank you so much, Kat, and thank you for your insights and expertise. Next up, I am honored to introduce a pillar of the North Carolina community and ABIC co-chair Martin Eakes. I met Martin last year through Raul Raimundo, another ABIC co-chair. And through Martin, we were able to process about 200 of our smallest businesses, sole proprietors, businesses of color, and growers for the PPP. And we also worked closely with Martin, Senator Rubio, Collins, Schumer, and Cardin to give access to CDFIs and MDIs and improve the PPP for the smallest borrowers. We love Martin because he's a champion for immigrants and small businesses. Please welcome Mr. Martin Eakes.
Thank you, Becca, and good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be on the video stage with all of this group of North and South Carolina leaders. Yes, we all have diverse policy views, but we come together because we think immigration is important and needs a sensible solution. I want to acknowledge, first off, my friend and North Carolinian Governor Cooper and Attorney General Stein, who have spent their whole careers upholding the rule of law and doing so with a sense of justice and fairness for all people. I thank my fellow Durhamite Vincent Price for stepping out as a leader, and I want to acknowledge Bob Page, who is a personal hero of mine. Finally, I wanted to especially thank Senator Graham, who has championed the Dreamers in the Senate for years and years, and recognizes that regardless of what's going on at the border, we need to have fully legalized status for Dreamers. My organization, Self-Help, is a nonprofit community development financial institution, or CDFI. We started with a $77 bake sale in the early 1980s and have grown to be approximately $5 billion as a nonprofit lender. We have 800 staff in 75 branches in 8 staffs and about 180,000 members total. We provided about $10 billion of financing for home ownership, rental housing, small businesses, and community health and educational facilities. One of the really great things about being a lender is that you get to see all the genius and diversity of America through the entrepreneurs and nonprofits that you come in contact with. 60,000 of our members are immigrant families. We have made loans to Dreamers to help pay for their processing costs for the DACA program. We've made loans to Dreamers for home loans and to attend medical schools so that they can go on to serve the community. It's just really an embarrassment to me that these students are not able to have support through either federal grants or loans to pursue higher education in order to serve the world. One of my favorite quotes from Frederick Douglass is the following: "It is better to build strong children than to repair broken men." A large majority of both parties, over 70%, support legalized status for dreamers. Building strong youth that can participate in our schools, in our economy, and in our society is really a key to the future of North and South Carolina and to the future of our country as a whole. We cannot let our legacy be that we left 41,000 young dreamers in North Carolina and South Carolina in a place being disconnected from hope, in a place where they cannot be fully human and fully productive members of our economy. I'm really truly grateful for the leaders, particularly business and faith leaders, who insist that we work across partisan party lines to fix our broken immigration system. We can secure borders, and we can do that while we still embrace the humanity of our neighbors that live right beside us. Thank you for letting me participate today, and thank you, ABIC, for providing leadership on this issue.
Thank you, Mr. Martin Eakes. Next, please welcome the co-founder of the Latino Community Credit Union and our champion of our state, Mr. John Herrera.
Buenos dias, good morning, Jael, and thank you, ABIC, for inviting me to this impressive group of folks and leaders from North and South Carolina. I am an immigrant from Costa Rica. I'm a proud country boy. My parents were farm workers, and I'm the youngest of 12, and 5 of my brothers and sisters didn't make it past the age of 5 back in the old days. And I'm also a first-generation college student in my family. And I came to America, which is the land of opportunity, is to realize, our dreams. I knew that I can improve myself here and provide a better future for my family. I'm the proud father of 6 children. And I was raised by a father and a mother who taught me that we always have to leave the place wherever we go better than we found it, and we have to contribute. And that's what I had always been doing ever since I came to America. Thanks to my older sister, my tita, who worked as an undocumented immigrant in this country many years ago, and today she's a proud Ronald Reagan Republican. But I was able to come to study here, and then I always have been trying to do my part. I'm a social entrepreneur. I run for political office. I help start the several nonprofit organizations in this country and in North Carolina. And I'm very proud of the Latino Community Credit Union, which is an amazing project that, thanks to State Employees Credit Union, Self-Help Credit Union, the Centro Hispano, and the Minority Support Center, we were able to start this national model for banking immigrants. We have today over 86,000 credit union owner members and over $500 million in assets. And we're serving immigrants that used to be victims of crime because people didn't have a safe place where to deposit their hard-earned money. America is the land of opportunity, and we immigrants, I told you my story because it's the story of many immigrants. We come to this country to realize our dreams, seeking what everybody seeks. It's a better life. We are in all industries and in all fields. We are first responders in this pandemic season that we're living in this country. We are farm workers, we are engineers, scientists. We are in all fronts, and I think we have a historic opportunity in front of us to enhance the future of America, to unleash that potential, that entrepreneurial spirit that we have. Is part of our DNA. We want to make things better. We have that desire to contribute, and we are already contributing. And if we pass the DREAM Act, the Citizenship Act, and the Farm Workers Modernization Act, I think we will unleash an incredible financial and human potential that America is. We need to go back to our roots. That is how this country got started. And I'm looking forward. I applaud the leadership of the House and Senate for doing this, and looking forward to continuing this dialogue. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Herrera. Next, I am honored to introduce Mr. Marty Kodes. He is the CEO and owner of Kodes Holdings. He operates 50 shopping centers in North and South Carolina, 6 restaurant brands. He is on the board of UNC, and he is also a curator and sponsor of over 190 murals. Mr. Kodes is a creative mind and heart that I know will help bring our outdated immigration system to the 21st century.
Thank you, Rebecca. My grandfather came over from Greece, and but for his immigration to the U.S., wouldn't be here today, obviously. And I operate in the development and construction, restaurant, hospitality, and as you said, street art sectors, as well as higher ed. You know, I think this is a complicated issue, and you know, we've talked around a lot of the ideals, but there are fears out there that people have: fears about crime, fears about their job being lost, fears about encouraging illegal activity. And I think in a civilized society, one of the key elements is a society that has laws and democracy. But I think we need to see additional opportunities for people to thrive and add value in North Carolina. We need a path to citizenship that is organized and safe, that doesn't encourage illegal activity, and recognize we have an issue that's complicated, but must be addressed fairly and realistically, because it's an issue that we have to tackle. It's an issue that's not going to go away, and we must be realistic in how we handle it. I believe there's more ability to admit new valuable members of society, have them step out of the shadows. You know, the question is, are we taking away jobs from Americans or opportunities for Americans? We're in an international economy now. You can buy a product from wherever, you can receive your education from wherever online. Jobs are being sourced to where people are providing that work. But there are a lot of people that are clamoring for the chance to work in this country. And we need people that want to work, that have the work ethos. So I think we should expand opportunities for high and low skilled workers who demonstrate they will be productive and respectful members of society. I believe we should be giving more people a chance to prove themselves and follow the American dream. And I think that really requires immigration reform that provides an opportunity, but also holds people accountable for their actions and their efforts in this country. And if we do that, that should definitely receive bipartisan support, I would hope. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Marty. We really appreciate it, and we're happy to have you on board the American Business Immigration Coalition. Next up, I'd like to bring up Jose Hernandez Paris, the Executive Director of the Latin American Coalition. Go ahead and take it away, Jose.
Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this. I am an immigrant also. I came to Charlotte 43 years ago. My mom came to the US in the early 70s, and thanks to immigration reform, was able to stay in this country and bring my 2 brothers. One of my brothers is a veteran, the other one served in the Army. And I have personally contributed to this country, which I love very much, and I'm honored to be here. The Latin American Coalition is a 30-year-old community-based organization which advocates, educates, integrates, and celebrates our community. In Charlotte is home to 137,000 immigrants, which about 54,000 of them are undocumented. One of our main economic engines is construction in the service industry. and we provide a huge part of the workforce. 40% of Latino immigrants work in construction, and about 60 to 70% of jobs in the service industry are filled by immigrants. So we hope that this immigration reform, this comprehensive immigration reform passes in a bipartisan effort because it will provide a safe and welcoming community. It will keep our local economy in our state and national economy going. It will prevent loss of skilled labor, and it will attract skilled workers. What we need is proactive immigration reform and not repeat the errors of the past. In 2011, Alabama enacted HB 56. The reason for HB 56, and I quote, was to make it difficult for them to live here so that they will deport themselves. As a result of that, the agricultural sector suffered after immigrants fled the state, and most of the jobs then come back, and Americans did not take those jobs. Like everyone mentioned, there are jobs, there are tough, difficult jobs that we think could be filled by others in the experiences that they're not. So 6 months after HB 56, Alabama lost $11 million in economic output, lost between 70 to 140,000 jobs. And like I said, American workers did not want to do the work that these immigrants were doing. If you compare Alabama to 3 other states that have proactive and welcoming policy for immigrants, between 2009 and 2012, Alabama lost spending in construction declined almost 5%. In comparison to Colorado, which increased 67%, Connecticut, which increased 12%, in Oregon, which increased 25%. Now, if you look at construction jobs numbers and percentages in Alabama during the same period of time, those jobs decreased by 4%. In Colorado, they increased 8%, 5% in Connecticut, and 3% in Oregon. So the numbers actually speak for themselves when you have policies, even at the state level, that are proactive, pro-immigrant, and welcoming to a community. And I'll close by saying that failure to act will remove tens of thousands of men and women from the domestic construction workforce. Without these workers, construction projects in many parts of the country, and particularly regions with large presence of dreamers and individuals with temporary protected status, are likely to be significantly disrupted. So we hope that, with this effort, and thank you so much for the business and business industry for advocating for immigrants and for advocating for an immigration reform that makes sense. And as a Latin American coalition, we're proud and glad to be included and thankful for this forum and for the opportunity to share with you.
Thank you so much, Jose. We are equally excited to have you and the Latin American Coalition as a partner in the Carolinas, and we are excited to help you and support you in the work that you do as you help us and support our work as well. Our last, but certainly not our least speaker for today is the president of the Latin American Chamber of Commerce in Charlotte. Grace Bailey is doing great work with her chamber, helping Latino-owned businesses grow and access resources. So Grace, please take it away.
Thank you, James, and thank you, ABIC, for taking lead on this very important issue. We were all immigrants at some point, right? I know that I immigrated here to the United States when I was 3 years old, so I am that child who knows nothing but America, and this is my home. So when we think about immigrants, to me, it's equivalent to a person who has a growth mindset. How many people leave their countries and are willing to take those risks and challenges, and we have that bigger tolerance for uncertainty. So this is the kind of leadership, this is the kind of growth mindset that is needed in our country to continue to prosper and to continue to see growth. Speaking from a Latinx perspective alone, 86% of net new businesses were created by Latinos alone in the United States. And what that does is that it stimulates the economy, right? It creates jobs. So 3 million American jobs are created by Latinos in this country. And, and that's just the Latinos alone. This country was built on immigration. And I am thankful that we are partnering with ABIC because we want to be a supporter. We want to be part of this conversation because it is important. And I am grateful to see that so many voices, so many perspectives are being represented on this panel. So thank you for having me here, and let's do good work together. Thank you, Rebecca.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you so much for your leadership in the Carolinas. So now we are coming to the conclusion of our program. We have a call to action. We ask folks, your business, your CEOs, your university presidents, to call your senators to support the Dream and Promise, the Bipartisan Farm Workforce Modernization Act. We believe that DREAM and the Farm Workforce Bill should move quickly. Our goal is bipartisanship and also far-reaching reform for the 11 million, like the U.S. Citizenship Act sponsored by Senator Menendez. And in that context, we believe we can address other issues. But adding extraneous issues to the Farm Workforce Modernization Act or DREAM could result in killing them. And in some cases, that is the intention. Therefore, we ask that everyone work towards good faith, bipartisan solutions that will move our nation forward and our economy forward. Thank you all very, very much, and have a great rest of your day.